looks like, right? So normally we will be having an Excel spreadsheet or Excel or anything that you can use, and everything like all the events, whatever you need to perform on which object you need to perform that event, and what inputs that you need to provide, everything normally we drive from external sources like this. Okay. So while discussing about keyword driven framework yesterday, I also told a few things like normally we create the functions for each and every event that we perform. Like if you want to enter the text into a directory, you create one function called edit text or any name you can provide. And if you want to click on a button, you provide you can create one function called click button. And or to select a checkbox, one function, or to click on a link, one function. So each function is called as a keyword here. Okay. So it depends on the flow that you want to execute, what kind of events that you need to perform. Then you list out all the keywords in a specific flow here. So for every event, probably object may require, and those objects can be stored in object repository, or objects can be defined through descriptive programming as well. Okay. So when we define the objects in the repository, so normally we use both approaches. In case required, if you want, then you can use both approaches. And when we assume that some objects have been stored in object repository and some objects have not been stored in a repository, if the objects have been stored in object repository, you don't need to give the complete hierarchy of that object. So what you can do is you can just get the object by using logical name. Okay. So first we will understand how normally we can get the object by logical name. So in case if we provide the logical name here, so UFT should search for this object in the repository automatically by this name, and then it has to fetch the hierarchy. Okay. So let's see now how normally we can fetch the object from object repository just by a logical name. Okay. Now first, okay, let me take one of the shared repository that we are using. Let me open object repository manager here. Just do it. Okay. So let me open the repository. I'm just opening the existing repository here. Okay. And this is what the repository that I have here. Okay, just consider that. Then I have a browser, page, and all remaining objects. But remember that you need to follow unique naming convention, because since you are providing only logical name here, if two objects, even though it is in different hierarchy, so if two objects have got a same logical name, then there are chances that it will take the first object. So if you follow unique naming conventions, that means okay, you have to keep logical name as unique for every object. You should not use same logical name for two objects. First, okay, let me where is the repository here? Say str rep path equals to what is that path D UFT, say D UFT slash learning slash, and what's the repository path that we have here? Repository and orange.hrm.tsr. Repository slash orange hrm.tsr. This is the shared repository that we have. Okay. So now from this repository we need to fetch the objects. Okay. So give the logical name as str logical name equals to zip. Okay, so I'm giving the logical name. I need to get the hierarchy of this object now. So first what you do is to retrieve the object from object repository automatically, programmatically. Then we have got one object called mercury.object repository util. object in this mercury.object repository util. So this object is used to work with the shared object repository programmatically. Okay, so if you want to add the objects to the shared repository, if you want to fetch the object from shared repository, or if you want to update the object description from shared repository, whatever it is. Okay, so to work with the shared repository programmatically, we can use this object. Let's say set op is equals to or if equals to create a first you need to create the instance of mercury.object repository utility. Mercury.object repository utility. So this is the object that we can create. So this object normally quick test that application deals with quick test object. We have seen OTA like TD API OLEAT. So that object deals with QC. Similarly, this object deals with the shared repository. Okay. Then after creating the instance of repository object, you need to load the repository. How do you do that? orf.load. You need to provide the absolute path of the repository here. Okay. So now first you create the instance of mercury.object repository and then you load the shared repository. Okay. Next, after loading the repository, then what you have to do is first we need to understand how many objects are there in the repository. Okay. So first we will see one by one. First I have loaded the shared repository here. Now I want how many objects are there in the shared repository. Then what you do after loading it, say orf.get all objects. Okay, get all objects. Then you can say O is a collection. Then message box obj collection dot count. Then what I'll do is I'll write like mercury obj util. I'll say this object. Then let me execute this. I will save this under UFT, under learning. I will save this previous file, and then let me open that folder. Sorry? Okay. So, okay, this is 32-bit. This is 32-bit. So let me run inside UFT only. Sorry? You got the error, right? It is able to, while designing it is able to identify, but while executing it is not able to initiate. Okay, so let us execute inside UFT directly. See where it goes. Right. Let it get executed. So total 16 objects are there in each, in that repository, whatever the repository that we have loaded. Okay. Now I want to know how many web edits are there in that repository. Then you can say instead of get object, then you can say get object by class. Then you can say web edit. Total 6 web edits are there inside this. See whether the 6 web edits are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And if you give button, it will give how many? 2 buttons. Like this. Sorry? 16 including all the objects, including browser, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. No, I have not given logical name here. I said get all objects. Right? So I have not given logical name there. I have given get all objects. Right? So now what you do is, okay, if you want to get logical name of each and every object, I'll say get all objects here. For each OBJ collection, it will fetch one by one object. Then str logical name equal to ORF dot get logical name. So get logical name is a method to get the logical name of every object. Input for this particular method is whatever the object that you are accessing, right? So you have to pass that particular object. Then it will say message box, or you can use print because there are a lot of objects. So message box is I don't want this many times. Then you can use this, but don't write down this for now. Let's see for each works or not. Object doesn't support this method. Then what you can do is, instead of using for each, equals to 0 to OBJ collection dot count minus 1. Then OBJ collection of don't use this. We're not sure if it is an item, dot item, or let's get execute. Where it is. It should be dot item. Okay, so it's not a collection of file directly. And then open output pane, and you can see all the objects. Logical names have been printed here. Right? Then, so what you can do if you want to get your object, then you can say if ucase of this object equals to ucase of str. Okay, so same logical name everything, right? I'll say actual logical name here. I'll change the property, and here I will give str expected is stored in str logical name. Okay, then you can display access box actual logical name, it will display. So now it will access the object, right? Okay, so whatever the object which is matching, then I need to take that object for which object that logical name is matching. Okay, then you can say set for test object is equals to this. I'm taking that object, whatever the object logical name it is matching with the expected logical name, I'm taking that. Got this logic what I'm doing here. So what exactly I'm doing is, first okay, I'm loading the repository. I'm getting all the objects from the repository. I'm looping through first object to last object. and then I'm getting one by one object from the repository collection, whatever I got. I'm getting one by one object collection. I'm getting the logical name of each and every object. For get logical name method, object is input, not the object number. Okay. So first I need to access the object, and then I need to provide that object as an input for get logical name. Then okay, if that whatever the logical name that I am getting for every object, if that logical name is matching with my expected logical name, that whatever I provide here, access that object. But by using this test object, you cannot directly write the script, because that will access the object, but it will not build the hierarchy of the object. So you have to build the hierarchy of the object manually. Okay. Then how do you build the hierarchy of the object? Then you will not be having anything called that test object dot path or something like that. We don't have any method. So what you need to do, you need to build the hierarchy. First, I don't know. I have just given the logical name, right? But I have not given any class or anything. So I don't know which class of object also it is. That is the logical name that we have used. So that I am just providing that particular logical name. Then if you want to get the class of that object, what you can do, that the object dot get TO property of mid class. Get TO property of mid class. str class equals to just set str x. That is a web button class object. Okay. So get TO property. You know what is meant by get TO property? Get TO property method is used to retrieve the property value of a test object. Nothing but the object which is stored in the repository, or you can also use description dot create. If you have created description object in the descriptive programming, you can still use that object for get TO property. Okay. So get TO property method is used to retrieve the property value of a test object, whatever the property that you provide. Okay. So now this is getting, I got the logical name here, and I got the class of the object. But how that object hierarchy will be in the script? Normally, how that object will be? It will be like this. First browser, so browser dot page, then so page dot web button. Like this, we need to write. Now we have got this, and we got this. So now if you want to build these two, okay, what you have to do? str obj hierarchy equal to str class ampersand. You know what I am doing here? CHR of 34 ampersand str logical name or actual logical name, anything you can provide. Logical name, then again CHR of 34, closing the double quote and closing the bracket. Now let's see what happens here exactly. So it is building like web button of save. Now I got the child object, whatever the object that I need to deal with. But similarly, I need to build this parent hierarchy also. So what I have to do now? Whatever the object matches with that logical name. Okay, so first to get that object class and then build the that class of logical name. And then after that you have to get the parent. Again you have to get the parent class and parent logical name. Right? You have to get the parent class and parent logical name. And then for the parent, again you need to get the parent. This is the root. Root is the browser here. Right? Then what you can do now is, if you want to get the parent object from the repository, for that particular object, then you can say set oParent equals to test object, o test object, dot get TO property of parent. When I say get TO property of parent, it will retrieve the parent object of the given object, test object. In case if there is no parent object, now assume that the test object is nothing but browser object. Okay, if the test object is browser object doesn't have the parent here. Browser object doesn't have parent. So now in case if the browser, if that object doesn't have any parent, this returns null. In case if this object is not parent object, this object is a child of any parent, then this will retrieve the parent object. Getting what I am saying here? So if you want to retrieve the parent object, then what you can do? You can use get TO property of parent. So get TO property of parent will retrieve the parent object of the object, whatever the object that you have given. Then what you can do is set parent logical name equal to oref dot get logical name of parent. What I am doing, I am giving the parent logical name here. Then str parent logical name equals to, sorry, not logical name, parent class equals to parent dot get TO property of with class. I am getting the class name of the parent. Then now same thing we can do here. You can say str parent class and set for logical name. Logical name is just a string, right? So you don't need to use set. Str parent hierarchy. Okay, so let me display it and see what exactly it is. We will debug one by one, no problem. Okay, we will understand line by line method slowly once we write the logic. Now you can see it has got the face object. Now I got child object, then I got the parent object. Then after this has got one more parent, right? Then again what I have to do? I need to write the same thing again. Say parent equals to that this parent dot get TO property of parent again. But okay, so if I write again here below, how many I might be having a lot of parents, like so sometimes hierarchy will be like this: browser, page, frame, inside that frame, table I might be having, then object. Sometimes browser, page, and object. Browser, page, parent, frame, and object. So hierarchy may be different. So I cannot write continuously like this. So instead of that, since I need to, what I have to do, my logic should be like this. First, I got the child object is fine. From the child, then get the parent. Then get the logical name of the parent, get the class of the parent. Then again go back. This parent should be treated as child now. This child's parent you get. And again paste that logical name, that class name that you get. Then if that whatever you got now as a parent, treat that as a child, again give the parent of it. If this returns null, you stop it because you got the root. If this has got parent again, you keep looping it. So every time you keep going up, and you have to go up and get the parent of that object every time. You got? So you need to write the loop there. Now what I am doing is here, okay, do loop. I am adding do loop here. Then once you get the parent hierarchy, Once you get the parent hierarchy, update the test object with parent. What I am doing now, initially test object is building up the loop. Test object is nothing but whatever the object we got from repository, the child. Now once that we get the parent, after getting the first parent here, then that parent will become as a test object. So next, for next iteration it is, that here second, for first iteration test object is web button. For second iteration test object is nothing but the page. Then for third iteration, then it will be browser, something like that. Okay, so let's see now how this loop works exactly. This is little important. Okay, so but we may not implement this keyword driven framework, but in case if you get these questions in interview or done, then this is useful. Then you can see you got the browser. For third iteration, it is retrieving null. It says that object required. Okay, it says that object required. Where? Line number 39. Okay, so here, because there is no object. So we already got the browser. Then what you can do is here, use something like this. On error, resume next. Then if error.number is not equal to 0, then you can say exit do. Right? You have to say exit do. So that's the use of on error resume next, because there is some error generating, but I don't want to show that error. But after that, okay, so I'm skipping that error at that line, but in the next line I'm capturing that error and I'm stopping the execution there. So once that loop is completed, you can say on error go to 0, because that error handling should be enabled only for that particular loop. Now what I have to do, every time it is parent error it is taking individually, right? Then what you can do now is str hierarchy equal to okay, str hierarchy. Okay, so now let me run it. We will debug line by line, understand what exactly this does. How it is displaying now? Browser.page. Then for this you open the child object hierarchy, whatever you got here. So you got the, where did you get that? This one, OBJ hierarchy, right? So you remove this. Okay. You got? Complete hierarchy. Now I will give a different object. I will give a different object here. Maybe I will give first name. Okay, I will give first name as a logical name. Now this time it's a web edit, right? We don't know what exactly it is. It's I know the logical name. I have given only the logical name. You can see it's automatically taking the browser dot page dot web edit, right? Then so let me change the logical hierarchy here. Inside this, I will do a thing. I will create one more object. Say I will create it as a frame object. I will create a frame is here, and then I'll just say our result frame, something that I'm writing. No result frame. Okay, I added the object here. So frame. Inside this, I will add one more object. Okay, web, and then I will say link. Okay, str, something that I am just giving them, or lnk user, something that I have given the close. Okay, now I will give this logical name. I'll give this logical name to the script. Let's see how that hierarchy will be. So now you can say browser.page.frame.link. Right? So it's automatically fetching the hierarchy, but I don't need to worry about what is that hierarchy. What I need is I just need to know the logical name of that particular object. Okay? Got what I'm saying here? Now, there is one more thing that you should know is now this is retrieving as string, right? So I cannot directly perform the method on this particular object now. Even though I am getting the complete hierarchy, I cannot directly perform the method on that object because that is retrieving the hierarchy, but hierarchy is being retrieved as a string value. But that should be converted into an object. Then only I will be able to perform the method on it. Then what should I do here? Set obj equals to, you have to evaluate that string. If you evaluate that string, since that string is object hierarchy and it is an object, it will be converted into an object. That is the use of eval. Okay, so the object part is retrieving as a string value, but if I want to perform the object action on that object, you have to evaluate that string, and so that that will be treated as an object, and then you can perform the action. That's it. Okay. Now what I will do is, let me open the demo.orange.hrm username, right? Okay, let me open that object repository. This one, right? Do we have username? obj.set admin. I'll just give the logical name here. I'll give the logical name here. And we also first, okay, after this, we need to load this object to the test also. We are loading only for this object, but we need to load that object to the test as well. Repositories collection dot add, then you can say str record. But here we are loading only into this object. We are not loading into the action. But if you want to perform the action on that object repository has to be loaded to the action. Okay. So now let's see now whether it will work. Unable to access the specified repository. Okay. Spelling mistake. It's empty. Now use txt password. So I'm not worrying about, I'm not writing the complete hierarchy or anything. Only thing is I'm just understanding the logical name of that object, whatever the logical name that we have used in the repository. I'm just providing the logical name of that logical name of that object to the script, so that it will automatically fetch the object from repository and then it performs the action. So this is one of the key scripts that we write in the keyword driven, because when I'm maintaining Excel, for every method I cannot write complete hierarchy in the Excel. Okay, I don't want to write complete hierarchy in the Excel. This is in case if you are stored in the object repository. Okay, so let me go back and again we will discuss, we'll see line by line code and then let's understand what each method does exactly, so that it will be easy for you to understand it. Okay, so I'm debugging now. So I'm going line by line. Okay, so let me know if you don't understand any of the method here. Okay. So first line I'm just giving the absolute path of the shared repository. Which shared repository I have stored the objects, which shared repository I want to use for this action. So wherever you have stored the objects, a same object repository has to be associated to the action also. Then this. What I am doing here, I am loading the shared repository into the action. Repositories collection dot add method. Then I am providing the logical name of the object, whatever the object that I want to retrieve. Next, I am defining Mercury.object repository util object. So why I am defining this? So because I want to deal with the shared repository and I want to get the object hierarchy, or I may need to do some modifications to the existing objects in the shared repository directly. Then I want to, if you have to do that, or you need to do that, you can use this object. And we also discussed about a method called setDevo_property. Did I tell that method setDevo_property? What that setDevo_property method does exactly? It will update the property value in the repository. But whatever the update that you do, setDevo_property is temporary. Only for that action it will update setDevo_property. But if you want to make a permanent update, you can use this object. Remember, this will work only for the shared repository. You cannot deal local repository with Mercury.object repository. This is only for the shared repository. Then what I am doing now, I have created that object, I am loading the shared repository to this object. Then what I am doing, get all objects. In a sense, it will retrieve collection of all the objects in the shared repository. Okay. Now, next what I am doing is here, I'm looking through 0 to total count. Depends on how many objects are there. Let's understand how many objects are there here. So total 18 objects are there. Earlier 16. Now after that I have added 2 frame and link I have added. But instead of that, if you say that no, there are hundreds of objects are there, every time if I loop it takes a lot of time. Then what you can do is in your spreadsheet, wherever you are defining your keywords and all here, you can define, you can create one more column, and then you can provide the class of the object there. Like you want to perform that on web-edit class or web-button class and all. Then instead of using get all objects method, then you can use get objects by class, and class name that you can provide. You can define a class there, so that it will filter the objects with a particular class, and it will retrieve the collection of only that class of objects. So that it takes little, it is fine. Instead of using get all objects, if you get by class, it filter less, or it will get less objects, and then script could be little faster. Got what I'm saying? So you can use either way. You can say that no, I don't want to create an extra class. I know only the logical name. I don't know what class and all it belongs to. Fine, you can use get all objects, and then you can loop to all objects, and then compare each object with given logical name. Then, so I'm looping through one by one, and here what I'm doing is I'm getting the logical name of the object. How I am getting the repository object, whatever I have created, dot get logical name. Okay, it is not like this object dot get logical name. The repository object dot logical name, get logical name. Input for that particular get logical name is whatever the object that you have accessed, that object will be the input. One by one object I am accessing here, and then I am passing that object as an input to the logical get logical name method. So first it will access the object, and then it will get the logical name of this particular object. First time it will be obj collection dot item of 0. I value is 0 initially. Okay. You say actual logical name. Let's understand. I am debugging line by line here. Okay, so step into command. You guys will understand step into. Some of the people have not covered all of this. Okay, so you will understand all of this. How I am debugging line by line, or what is what. So first time we can see that below. What is the object it is retrieved? BRW orange HRM. Then what is our expected logical name? I have given here txt password. So not matching. Then go back again. So it is getting page object logical name, not matching. Then it is getting location, not matching. It is getting add employee, not matching. Getting txt username, not matching. Txt password, matching. Then it went inside the condition, and then now what I am doing is whatever the object that I have accessed for get logical name. So now this object's logical name is matching with expected logical name. So I am accessing the same object because I number is not changed. If item of 3 is matched, then it will use item of 3 only. So I am accessing the same test object, and I am storing the test object in another variable called O test object. Okay, because I need to store the test object, because with the test object I need to work further. So I am getting the test object, I am storing it in one variable. And then okay, since I got my object, I don't need to continue with remaining object. So I am using exit for come out. Then now what I am doing is I need to build the hierarchy. I cannot directly write the script. I cannot directly perform the object on the test object, because when I execute that, when I want to perform that object, method of that particular object in the action or in the function, I need to give complete hierarchy of the object. Then only it works. So now I need to build the hierarchy of that object. So to build the hierarchy, it will be like this: parent object class of parent object logical name dot child object class dot of child object's logical name. Something like that you need to write. So now what I am doing is I need to get the hierarchy. In the hierarchy, for each object, whatever is there in the hierarchy, I need to get the class, I need to get the logical name. Okay, so I am starting with the current object, whatever the object is matched. From that object, I am starting. Okay, to get the class and logical name. Then how can I get the logical name? First, how can I get the class? Then you can say get a TO property of so object dot get a TO property of big class. So this is used to get the class of the object, whatever the class which is stored. Big class is nothing but, you can see here in the object repository, and when you select this, can you see something called class here? Look, this is nothing but the big class. That is nothing but the class. So now it is a web-buried class. And then what I am saying is, to build that hierarchy, first it has to be class of logical name, right? Then I am saying class, whatever the class that I got, ampersand, property, logical name should be given within the double quotes and parentheses. So I have defined the parentheses here, and then I am defining the double quote object by using CHR of 34. And logical name, whatever the logical name that I have retrieved here, logical name, then I am closing the double quote and I am closing the parenthesis here. Now, see, this is how it is generated here. Next, what I do now, okay, so not only that, right, I need to get the parent object hierarchy. So I don't know how many parents are there. So on top of that, there is one parent. On top of that, there could be another parent. On top of that, there could be another parent. Okay, so there are a lot of parents on there. Then in this case, what you can do is, what you can do, I am using honor resume next. The reason why I am using honor resume next here, because if I reach into parent object, then the root doesn't have any parent. So in case if I don't have any method to say is it a root object or it's not a root object. The only way I have here to understand whether it's a root object or not root object is the chain. Then what you can do is, if that object dot get your property of parent if you use, then it will return the error saying object required something like that. Normally it returns none. So that's my criteria. See whether it is a root or not. The same thing that I am doing here. So if that returns the error, if this method returns the error, then stop the loop. Okay, what is the get property of parent here? So get of parent is nothing but retrieving the parent object of an object from object repository. Parent object. Okay. So in the object repository it will retrieve the parent object, not from the application. It is from repository. That is called test object. Okay. So if you want to retrieve the parent object of a test object, then you can use get property of parent. Okay. So I am retrieving the parent object first. Then that whatever the parent that I am retrieving, I am getting the parent logical name. I got the parent logical name here. Okay. Then I am getting the parent class, get your property of that particular parent, class of that particular parent. Then I am building the parent hierarchy again. Parent hierarchy, same thing. Parent object class and parent object's logical name. You know why I am using this str hierarchy? Because see, normally in the beginning I should not add dot. Right? For first time it should be just normal object class and object logical name. If I ask dot, right, I cannot say dot browser dot something. So in the beginning object it should be without dot, it has to start with the object class. So that's the reason first time don't add any dot. So without dot, you just build the hierarchy. Then next time onwards, you say that hierarchy dot whatever the hierarchy, previous object hierarchy. So first time without dot, it is adding the hierarchy. Here it says that same whatever it got page of page logical name. Then okay, again this page should be treated as a child now, so that I can get the parent of this page object. That's the reason what I am doing is once I get the logical name and the class of this particular object, then I am assigning that parent to test object, so that in the next iteration it will get that test object is nothing but which object here, page. So page dot get property of parent. What it will return? Browser. Now it is retrieving browser. Class name is uh, browser, and logical name is BRW or NHRM, something like that. Then hierarchy is not empty. Hierarchy is something previous object has been appended or assigned. Now, what is the parent hierarchy now? Browser of browser logical name dot hierarchy is nothing but page. So browser dot page it will generate. You can see it is generated. Now browser is a root object. So now if I say root object dot get to a property of parent, then it will return error. Now, so there is some error here actually. So if you want to see the error, use console message box. So there is some error here. Error is there. Then if there is an error, come out of the loop. Now what is there in the str hierarchy? Browser. So hierarchy remains there and it will just come out of the loop. Now the total hierarchy is nothing but str hierarchy. Str hierarchy is nothing but browser dot page. Then what is there in obj hierarchy? Web edit of txt password. Now it will be str hierarchy, that browser dot page dot web edit of logical name. Now why I am using eval? Because this will be retrieved as a string value. If you want to see that, it is a type name is string here. So it is retrieving as a single value. But if I want to perform the action on this object, the hierarchy should not be as a string. Hierarchy should be treated as an object. Then if I use eval here, then that is turned into object. That is the use of eval function. So if you want to, if that string, whatever the value that you got is an array or is an object or is it an, some variable or something, then variable name as given as a string value. If you want to fetch the variable from that string, then you can use eval of that particular string. But now if you perform the action on it, it will perform the action. In case if that object properties have been changed, it will throw the error, otherwise it will perform the action. So this is how normally we can get the object. So you can also use this not only in keyword driven, you can also use this in normal approach also, data driven or any approach. If you say that every time I want to write a bit hierarchy, then why should I write that much bit hierarchy? Then what you can do is you can create this, we can make this as a function, and then for that function input will be logical. Input will be logical. Okay. Now what I am doing is function get obj by logical name. Str logical name is a input. So just provide the logical name as an input, and then you can say so what I am doing now, I am returning the object into the function. So function can return the object also, not only the values, function can return object as well. So if you provide the logical name for this object, this function returns the object from object repository, and this object repository path should be a global variable. Okay. So now what I'm doing is I'm creating one more function library now called new function library. Where can we store? Under this function libraries, I'll say global variables dot with. Okay. And now what I'll do is I'll create one more function library. Function library name I will use is one more function library I'm creating. I'll say keyword functions. Then what I'll do, I will keep all these functions in keyword. So multiple libraries that we can use. So same report. Then this is a global variable, right? So if you update the value of that global variable, then that value can be used inside action or inside other library also. But you have to associate both the libraries to the action. So as of now, what I will do is I will associate that libraries to that. Okay. Then if you want to enter the username, what I will do is get object by logical name of txt username dot set, and then anyway this returns web ID and web ID got set. Let's see whether it don't write down this txt password dot set admin. Then for button, what did I do? What I have is btn login. Btn login dot click. I don't need to worry about the hierarchy, or my script will be very fast. Only thing is, I should know what name that I have given here. But it's easy for me to do that. Right? Okay. So let's understand the keyword framework now. But descriptive programming here, still have to, not all the objects have been stored in the repository. Then I have some objects are defined through descriptive properties and values I'm giving through Excel only. But that we will see one more time. First, okay, you will see this. Assume that all the objects are being stored in the object repository. Okay, so let's implement this. How exactly this works. So, do we have the functions? I will declare required global variables here. I'm declaring all global variables. I'm saying for test object. DLF to execute the ln exit on failure in str step in. Okay, so str. All these are some global variables I am declaring because all these variable values will be I am taking into script from that Excel. So I will be taking the values into inside the action. I will be reading these values in action, but same values I have to use it inside the function also, which is in the library. So the value which I am reading in action, that value has to be used in function also. So if you want to do that, then you can make that variable as global. Same variable you can use inside action and you can use inside the function. Okay, so that value will be passed in both the places. That's the reason I am making everything as the global variables here. Okay, how you make the global variables concept? I mean, you will get that later. I mean, some people have not you guys may not be able to understand it. Some people, because it's not covered for them. But some people, they know about global variables concept. Okay, so you will also understand that a little later. Okay, so forget this for a while now. Forget this for a while. Need small update for this function. Okay, so you need small update for this. Found equals to false, because in case if the logical name, whatever the logical name you have given, if that object is not there in the repository, it has to give that report, right? This object is not stored in the repository. Then if that object is found, I am making it test loop. So after the loop, if the object is VLN found is false, remain false, then report event field. You can say str step name. Step name will be reading from here, whatever the step. So that will be easy for us to understand. To understand which step is failed or not. So same message will be coming in the report also, main report. So based on the report message, whatever you got, you can come here and you can easily understand, oh, so step is failed. So easy for us to understand. Okay, then object was not found in the repository. Even local exit function is used to come out of the function. Then there is one more here. If here we are using like something called exit on failure. So if you have said is yes, if you have said as yes, then it should come out of the execution. If that is said as no, then it can continue. Then you will be reading this value, and we will be reading the value from this column, and where we will be storing under exit and failure is there, right? We will be storing here. Then if in case if that object is not there and VLN failure is yes, if you have mentioned exit on failure as yes, then you can say exit run, right? And also here there will be one step failing, right? Even though I am skipping that, that script will be showed as failed only normally. Even though that error is being skipped there, we have used on error resume next, on error resume next. Oh, okay, so it's not showing here. Okay, so it's not. That is it. But in case if it is showing, you can do one more way. You can hide the errors and all in the report also. I'll come back to that. We have that situation. Okay, so now I'm just redefine that. In case if that object is if we have said as exit on failure is as yes, then it will stop the execution. I don't need this for now. Create some keywords, basic keywords I will create for now. Function. Okay. How do you close all the process? O browser equals to create object, sorry, description dot create. O browser of class dot value equals to browser. Set O browser collection equals to desktop dot child objects of O browser. Then for I equals to 0 to O browser collection dot count minus, right? Then it will say browser collection of I dot close. That's for closing all the browser objects. Then keep this function inside the keyword functions. So you have to create all the keyword functions here. Then you can do description for each and every user. After description is used to give the information or description of every user defined function. You can say to close all the existing processes. The next one is launching the browser, right? Function launch application. Okay. Okay, so input 1 and input I am taking. Input 1 is nothing but browser type, input is nothing but eval. Okay. Then if I am launching it, then if O test object dot exist. Okay, so test object is a global variable here, and test object I am taking here. As soon as I launch the application, and I need to verify this object existed. So for the launch application, browser object should exist, right? Okay, so if the O test object is a global variable, and before I execute that function, I will be getting this whatever the object I am storing here, right? I will be getting this object into O test object. So O test object will be keep updating for every keyword based on the object logical name that I have provided in the column, under that particular column. So O test object will be keep updating. That's the reason I made it as a global variable, so that it can keep update. Outside the function, I can update it. Exist. Then you can say reported dot report event. Make pass. Then you can say str step name. Then browser has been launched. Else reported dot report. Report event will comma str step name, then browser has not been launched. Okay. Launched. And if pln exit on fail, is it the same variable? Exit on failure. So it should be exit on failure. Yes. Case of exit on failure is yes, exit. In case if it is not yes, then it will continue further. Okay, so but if it is yes, then it will stop the execution there. So this is for launch browser. We have to create a lot of functions. It could be a little complex compared with the normal coding, but you will see the advantage next. Okay, if you implement this thing, then you can say description is to launch the application with the given URL and with the browser type. Okay, so second function has been created. The function is a enter text. Okay, enter text. Then if test object dot exist first, then object should exist. Okay, then if test object dot get RO property of disabled. You know what is meant by disabled here? To check whether object is enabled or disabled. So for every action that you enter or every event that you execute, three conditions are like this: that object should exist first, that object should be enabled. So then only you will be able to perform the event on it. Then if str input 1 is not empty, okay, then you can do test object dot set str input 1. Else, in case if input is not empty, reported dot report event. This time just provide the warning saying that okay, so input is provided as empty. In case if that object is disabled, this else is for this. If the object is disabled, sorry, yeah, disabled should be 0. Say make failure. Given edit field is disabled, unable to set the value. That's it. This else is for parent one. What is the root? If object exists, does not exist, okay. So step name given field does not exist. Okay. If sorry, if this is true, that means when BLN error will be true only if there is here or here. If the object does not exist or if object is disabled, error will be there, and BLN exit on failure will be is yes. Okay, if the error is true and the exit on failure is yes, what can you do? So what we have to do? We have to come out of the execution. So all the keywords you need to build like this. Okay. Then similarly, the text click button, and you don't need to check this. Dot. If the button is enabled, click it. Then what you can do if the button does not exist, given button is disabled and enable to click. Similarly, does not exist. See? Each one is one event, but we are not directly writing the event. So we are writing the event inside the function. Just give a description saying to click on the okay. Right. And also function okay. Say or test object dot ready state. Sorry. Object dot ready state equals to complete. In the DOM we have learned something called ready state, right? So similarly here also we can use them. So this will wait till the page gets loaded. Then default weight I will do as 3, basic weight. O test object or O test object? O test object it should be. It should be O test object. Then we have to do some validations also, right? object.exist, reporter.keyword, pass str step name. Okay, this is something, you can write some generic code. In case of exit on failure equals to yes, then we can use exit. Okay, so that's it. So we got some keywords here, but we need to create more keywords going forward in the implementation, but basic keywords that I have done. So let me do one thing, launch application. We don't need the parent object as of now. Parent object will be used only when you are using the descriptive. Okay. So this also we have not defined it. And I'll also write keyword function for click. Okay, and say click link. So link does not have a get arrow property. So it will have only exist. Link will not disable or anything. Link will be just. If the link exists, by default it will be enabled. Link object will not have disabled or enabled. It's okay. We have got for link also. We will discuss this thoroughly. Okay, so just see the basic implementation. So click on login button. We have used as ptn login. Then enter username, txt, username we have given. Then txt, password we have given, PIM link, maybe we can say PIM link. Okay, so now I just placed some keywords here. So this is a verify object. Check for object. Okay, so each keyword. Then after clicking on this, basis loading. Then sync page. This is the same function we have created. Sync page. Then you can give the logical name of that. You need to provide the page object. So for which page it has to wait. Okay, so do we have PIM link stored in this? Yes, PIM link also we have. Right? Okay, so script. Come back to the script now. create object excel dot application set workbook equals to excel dot workbooks dot open str say keyword file path. Okay, then str worksheet equals to workbook dot worksheets of str equivalent. Okay, and set total rows equals to worksheet dot range dot rows dot count or I equals to 2 to total rows. You know why I'm using the 2 to total rows? First row is for column header, so I don't need to get that. Keywords are started from second row. Okay. Right. So first what I will do is str step name equals to worksheet dot cells of I comma 1 first column dot value, that is the step name. Okay, step name is a global variable, right? So same step name I have used everywhere here, so that if I read the value here, value will be passed to the function also next. Then str keyword equals to worksheet dot cells of I comma 2 str obj logical name equal to worksheet dot cells of I comma 4 dot value, it's in fourth column, right? Okay, then if logical name is not equal to empty, okay, so in case if logical name is not provided, if it is provided, then only you need to get the object from repository. If it is not provided, then you don't need to get that object, because when we provide the logical name only, okay, so in case if we don't need that object, we can give any as an input. Okay, so we don't need to give as an input. What? You can not required. By default is dot value. Yes, but still, if you don't give dot value here, default it will take it as dot value. So it's not mandated to give dot value if it is not in here. But we need to change this logic, because for now I am giving only repository. But if it is not NA, it has to go here and then it has to search here also. So slowly we will change that logic. Okay, I will come back and change. If logical name is not empty, sorry, not NA, what can you do? Set test object equals to, now test object also global variable, and test object I am using everywhere, right here. So test object will the test object will be updated here. Get object by logical name. What is the logical name? Whatever we are retrieving here. So we are retrieving the logical name from Excel. That logical name I am passing as an input. This object will return the output of the object. That output I am storing it in test object. Okay. Next, ELN exit on failure. For this only we need to use. ELN exit on failure is equal to O sheet dot cells of which column is 10 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. But we can use that function as of now. I'm writing columns names or numbers are hard coded, but we have written a function called get data into array and get data from array. Right? We can use those functions here also. Then you can say str input 1 equals to what is the column here? 5, 6, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Get all the values from. Okay. Now call eval of str keyword. Str keyword is nothing but a function name. But why I am using eval? Because function name will be taken as a value. I am reading from Excel. So that will come as a value. But if I evaluate that, since okay, that value is nothing but a function, it executes it. Let's see whether it will work or not. Okay, so this is how I have written here. But look at the logical names, or sorry, keyword names. Keyword names must match with the function names here. Large application. Right? So remaining are okay, right? Sync page we have written, check for object we have written, click link we have written. So that's it. And also one more here. I'll specify if this step needs to be executed or not to be executed. Right? Okay. So I should have done it because I'm already hard coding the column numbers, right? Insert at the end. That is good. PLN to execute equals to this is yes. Done. Okay. Alright. So now we are done. Let's see whether it will work or not now. Line number 12. Okay. Sorry? No. Empty and all. You don't need to exit empty. You just if the input is there, it will take it. Otherwise, leave it. Because for many of the fields, we don't need that, right? Okay, put down the font. We need to give the keyword file, right? So Excel file, where we have given that under data. No. Sheet name. Here. Sheet name equals to. Got complex. Typeless match. Browser collection. One thing that you should know is here. Invalid. Line number. str logical name. Sorry. One minute. Just a minute. So it's stopping in between, right? So that Excel file initiated, but it's not closing every time. We have written the functions. We are supposed to debug those, but it's not. Okay, it is NA. Right. Now logical name is BRW orange HRM. Right. The problem is no, no, no. I got it. I was thinking about this while implementing that function. See here, the first one itself, browser we have given, right? So the test object itself, browser, right? So I mean, after this we will not be having. See where that hierarchy is setting, inside loop only we are defining the hierarchy. And then how we are defining str. So str object hierarchy is nothing but the browser already, right? Str browser object. So we are saying dot browser. So that is some problem because str hierarchy will be defined inside the loop. But first time itself it will come out of the loop because first object itself browser. So str hierarchy will be empty, right? Because first time itself it will come out of the loop, str hierarchy will not be built. But we have str obj hierarchy built here. It will be browser of source of browser name. But now how it will be? Empty dot str browser. That means dot browser it will come as. That is the problem. I was telling here also same thing. Why I have used empty? Because it should not come dot in the beginning, right? Same thing happened now. Because first time itself it is a browser, so loop will not be executed at all. So str hierarchy will be empty. Str hierarchy will be empty. Empty dot obj hierarchy. So dot browser it will come as. Then what I will do is here. If it is not empty, so we will debug this line by line again one more time. So you will understand that once we debug. Okay. So if it is hierarchy is not empty, then say that hierarchy dot that object hierarchy. If hierarchy is empty, say that hierarchy is nothing but that browser object. So that was a problem. I was guessing this problem, but I did not implement. That's what invalid reference is showing. So it launched with the URL, whatever it is. So we have given professional.demo, right? So taking little time to load, but it stopped execution. The reason why? Because taking a lot of time to load, the browser has not launched. Then it showed us failed. So launch the application. Browser has not been launched. Okay, so that is a problem. Then the reason why, because of it is taking a lot of time. Let's launch enterprise. Enterprise.demo.rm. It's launched. Okay, now what I need is browser is already launched. This thing that browser has been already launched. I don't want to execute launch browser. I don't want to execute close browsers. So what you can do now is come to the Excel file and say I don't want to execute those two steps. Give us no. Give us no. Okay, so I don't want to execute them. So just give us no. Then directly, so we have given sync rate. Sync page. Okay, so one more problem is last run result. It's failed. What is the reason? Verify login. Object was not found in the repository with the given logical name. So what is that logical name here? Okay, so the reason because we started with script. We need to manage this, but because it is stopping in between, right? Excel object was not closing. So we are check for object LNK welcome. That object is not there in the repository. That was error, right? I don't want to execute login now. So these two also performed already. Sorry. Because username password have been already set and it's executed. So I don't want to execute these events. See now what I am doing, what events to execute, what events not to execute, everything I am defining from Excel. Let's click the PAM link. Done. So whatever. Now what I want more steps to execute. So understand object repository here. Okay, so what are the objects have been stored? See, once you implement the framework, right? So now how easy to generate the script and all? I'll just come here. Click on add employee link. So keyword is click. Then you can say add employee, give the logical link. Then this is this to be executed. Remaining steps for now I don't want to execute. Then I say no. These steps not need to be executed because they are enter first name. Okay, or before that we have to say verify navigation to add employee. Add employee page, because after clicking on add employee I have to verify whether it's navigated to add employee page or not. Then okay, so what I have to do is I have to get first name object into the repository. So right, first name object should be displayed in the application. If the first name object displayed in the application, that means that it is there in the add employee page. Then I'll say so exit on payload step need to be executed. Then you can say enter first name, then enter text, then first name I need to enter. Then input is you have to provide the input. So input here is steer input. So you can give test, anything that you can provide. So okay, I am not modifying anything in the script now. I have updated some keywords. Enter last name. Then you can say enter text. What is the keyword that, sorry, what is the object logical name? It is last name. Last name, then the EMP, then S. That's it. Now come here and then save, view, loss and results. Link does not exist. Where is it? Add employee. It's highlighting. View, loss and results. Given link does not this is fine. Why it is not it is getting attention. Object is not being identified. Let me run from beginning again. Exit from beginning. So I have given add employee, right? It is executing, and then to click on PAM link and add employee is not being identified. So click on add employee, given link does not exist. Enable to click on it. Using Y. Where's that? Click. Link, right? Given link does not. This is where it is showing, right? I'm just keeping the breakpoint there. So initially we get this kind of problem because during debugging time we may get, object gets identified while executing it may not. So sometimes it could be some synchronization problem or something. We have to understand. So implementation takes little time. Keyword driven always looks a little complex. We have to create a lot of functions. Okay, so this is for playing game. So, see, actually we have two objects with the same logic. This is what I was telling. This is what the problem it is. So since there are two objects, even though class name is different for both the objects, logical name is same, but we are accessing the object by logical name, not by class, right? So that's the reason instead of getting a link here, it is retrieving a web element. So this is the main reason you must have to follow unique names for the objects. Okay, even though class name is different, but logical name must be same. Logical name must be same. Okay, so this is the problem. Good. So you don't need to close every time. We have used closed browsers and all, right? And also you can go to the keyword file and then you can set up those steps not to be executed. That's not. Okay. Now it is. It was taking web element. Now set first name, set last. Right? So all the steps have been executed. Now assume that I don't want to execute the first name step. I want to execute only last name directly. Then what you can do is come to this file. You execute this step as, so you mention this step as first name. Say as no. Then that step will not be executed. First name will not say. And if you have more steps to be executed now, then what you have is probably you still have to select the location and all, right? But we have not written the keyword for selecting a value from downtown. If you have written that function, you can add this object to the repository, call that function there, and give that logical name, give the value. So no modification at the script at all. So you don't need to change anything. Script looks same, but still some enhancements required here, because this we get the object only when we have stored in the repository. But enhancement that we have to do is we need to get the object from descriptive also. So later what we do, instead of storing that object in the repository, we define the object properties and values in the Excel file. So in case if the object is not there here, take these properties and take the property values, and you need to give the parent, from which parent that object has to be taken description of it. So it has to get the parent first, and then it has to get the object by using these properties. Okay, dynamically. So we have to use some descriptive here. And that enhancement that we need to do. And another enhancement that we need to do is, in case if the script is stopping in between, every time I am going and closing the Excel file there, and we are killing the process of Excel file there. So we need to close that Excel. Whenever it is stopping the execution, we need to close the Excel. It is very simple. Instead of using exit run, for that also we create one more function. And when we call that function, instead of using exit run, if we call that function, it has to close all the Excel processes, whatever running. Then it has to finalize the report and all, and then it has to stop. we have to do that enhancements. We will stop here today. Okay, but this is little complex. We might have gone little complex now. But understood the process of keyword driven. What is the advantage now? See, I have written the script only once, but once all the keywords, all the functions have been implemented, everything we are driving from Excel. What action I need to perform, what object, whether that event need to be executed or not to be executed, and everything, or if that event fails, we have to stop or we have to continue. Everything I'm driving from Excel only here. But in the data driven and all, in case if any new step need to be introduced, I need to go to that function or I need to go to that action. I need to write the steps and all. So script expertise is required. But to update this Excel, only knowledge that what you should know is what object I need to use in the repository, what is the object stored in the repository, or what properties I need to use to identify that object, and what is the function that I need to use. Only these two are required. So everybody who knows what function I need to use and what properties I need to use that for that object to identify that object, everybody can update the Excel so that everybody can write the scripts here. That is the main advantage of using keyword driven framework. But in the data driven or hybrid approach, if you want to write any step, you should know QDB. You should know how to write the steps and all. Then only you will be able to write. But here you don't need to know about scripting completely. So everybody can write the scripts and everybody can execute the script any flow, whatever they want. This is pure keyword driven framework. Okay, so we will stop here today, and in the next enhancement of this keyword driven framework, we are coming here and we will be updating this, and we will be updating with reporting, HTML reporting or Excel kind of reporting. Okay. So this looks very similar to the manual test case also. Manual step name is this. Then they can easily understand that. Even manual test also can easily understand what steps we are performing, whether the steps are performing according to the manual test case or not. Easy, right? Okay, so this is how it works. We will stop here.